Hi there, I'm Rachel Lee. I'm here to talk with you about the future of the web. Spoilers, it's agents. I mean, what did we come here to learn about, really? But specifically, agents that can use the web. As Carter said, I've worked with Mozilla and the W3C and Microsoft's Edge browser, even on the React team. I love the web. It runs deep in my life. But believe it or not, before I worked at AgentQL and big tech and browsers, I actually was a cartoonist. I built websites to share my webcomics with teenage girls. I love the web. Before my big tech career, I made these comics and was read by 400,000 teenage girls around the world every Wednesday. And I built my first website, a Drupal portal, which would bring like-minded individuals, other teenage girls who loved anime and manga, together. And so this is how I got started in engineering. This was the cozy web of my use. All forums and IRC channels and Kazaa file sharing. But the internet, it started as this network of computers. So you could keep in touch with family, make new friends, chat, play games, save videos, etc. But something happened around the time that I started moving into web development. Platforms happened. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Amazon. People moved off of their blogs and forums and onto platforms where their friends were. And then they were held hostage. Let's talk about this. It's called it's this term called enshittification, coined by Cory Doctorow, used to describe the life cycle of platforms from Amazon to TikTok. And I'm going to break it down for you here. Stage one is you acquire the most users you can by directing your surpluses to them until they're locked in. You know, tell your friend, join Facebook, join and learn more. You know, come to Amazon. We got the lowest prices. Then attract suppliers, advertisers, people who make products, etc., by directing the surpluses to them. Hey, we've got this great new creators program. You should join it. You can get reimbursed. We've got grants. And then when they're locked in, they're no longer making things on their own professional store sites or blogs. Once they're both locked in and unable to leave thanks to the power of network effects, you direct the surplus to your shareholders. And that's how enshittification works. Platforms promised the ease of consolidated interactions, but to keep users captive, they purposely lack interoperability, holding content hostage behind authentication walls and pricey, or in some cases, absolutely no APIs. This means to get anything done, we have to, like me, this is a common workflow that I use every day just to keep up with the web agent community. We have to flip through a bajillion different platforms. We have to have accounts on every one of those platforms. We have to hire the person to manage the accounts and to make the reports about all the things happening on the... It gets to be quite a bit. This is not the amazing use case I was expecting when we started all consolidating onto platforms. And if we want to aggregate our experiences, either we have to get other users or suppliers onto the platform we're putting all our time into, or we have to pay yet another platform to aggregate these interfaces for us. This is me using Buffer just to post, not to research, but just to post to the people who want to know about web agents. All right, you've seen enough of my daily torture. Organizations can't always afford their own platform or their own APIs. Small government is a great example of this. And they've been forced to dump their information online. They have no way to aggregate or alert their customers or consumers beyond email at best, or hoping for chronic searches. Often they have to have somebody who's posting to one of those platforms just to let people know, like your local shelter has a TikTok or a Twitter. But the enshittification, it runs deep. If the internet is a vast sea of unstructured content with spotty and clunky interop at best, you have to wonder, why are we still using a browser built by an ads company to navigate it? Don't we need something a little more intelligent? All right, enough fooling around. Let me spoiler it all for you now. What if we could turn any page, any web page out there into an API endpoint, truly freeing us to do whatever we need with that information, free of ads, free of trackers, just the information, just the data? What if we had a way to navigate, aggregate, summarize, and interact with all that unstructured content in the great content lake of the internet? No platform, no browser. Our agents could visit any site. No ads, no trackers, no algorithms feeding us what they think we want. We have this technology actually today. It exists today. I'm not like spelling out some future pie in the sky that maybe one day we could possibly use. No, it's possible right now. To go out and get what you need where you need it, customized to you, not forcing you to use yet another service. This is a demo using Langflow and AgentQL. There are lots of things you can use that aren't AgentQL. Don't worry, I'm going to give you the template in a moment. But basically, use AgentQL to go out and get all the latest news feed posts from each of these platforms, and it coughs them back up in a CSV, and then I can do whatever I want with that information. Of course, here I'm putting it into a spreadsheet. Let's be honest. Most data ends up in a spreadsheet at some point or another. But in this case, it's a lot easier for me to point an intern at a spreadsheet than it is for me to send them to a big pile of links. But that can change. You can do whatever you like with this particular workflow. I just wanted to highlight that this is possible. Where you get the content from and what you do with it, that's up to you. That's up to what you build. This example was done with AgentQL. You can check out the template. It's at langflow.news/AgentQL. If you want to play, you can get started with it right now. It should give you an idea of how you can actually go out there and just use the ambient content of the internet to your heart's content. We've already built the technologies that allow agents to do these things, though. I'm going to show you a bunch of others, and you can start thinking about how you might put them together to create a solution to your needs. Now, most of these solutions, they come from tools that are built for scraping and testing. Not the most glamorous side of the internet, to be fair, but perhaps the hardest working. Scraping tools, they used to be imperative, for instance, and rely on fragile selectors like CSS selectors or XPath. And you may have heard someone in the data sciences department complaining that all the scraper broke again because somebody changed the format of an ID on a form or a section of content, and you have to go fix it. But there's this new class of declarative data extractors, where through the power of LLMs, you describe the content you're looking for and it zooms in and gets it for you. AgentQL is one of those, but there are others too that you can check out, like Firecrawl and Browse AI. They're able to evaluate entire pages to find the content that you're looking for and tend to be self-healing and able to adapt to the changes as they roll through and UI evolves and changes over the years. Tools like Puppeteer and Selenium, WebDriver specifically, have been used for testing and automation for years. They are well battle-tested, stable tools. Often, though, once again, relying on those fragile selectors that break often, this meant that you would have to maintain them and work on them in order to make sure that those automations would run smoothly. But now you've got, once again, tools like AgentQL. They use automation libraries like Playwright to interact with web pages according to prompts. Click this button, do this thing over there. You've suddenly given both read and write access to your agent. Lovely. Now, you might be saying, but Rachel Lee, what about anti-bot measures? People have been locking down against scrapers since the dawn of time. Well, this is kind of a cat and a mouse game. The truth is, just like hacking, there's no way to keep data from a scraper who really wants it. The scraping community has developed all kinds of solutions to anti-bot measures. If that scares you, it should. Hacking is a dark art. But here's how you might be able to use it for, I'm hoping, good purposes. Scrapers have invented things like IP rotation and proxies, credential sharing, CAPTCHA solvers, and services. Trusted services exist for all of these things. You've got Cap Solver, you've got Smart Proxy, and you've got my particular fave on the horizon, Zenrose. Zenrose, if there's a site you need to reach and you're having trouble building your own solutions, it will cut right to the heart of the matter like butter. All right. Platforms, they can't hold us hostage if we send our agents to go fetch our data on our behalf or directly share it with each other. That's where we are now. But where are technologies going such that we might have an even smoother access to information that people want to share with us? I'm assuming that the veterinarian clinic wants you to know their hours, and they're not putting up anti-bot defenses there. So how can we go a little bit further to let them just tell us? Well, here's a couple of things that are on the horizon. The Model Context Protocol, MCP, is an open standard for AI assistants to communicate with data sources, and that could include your website. By leveraging MCP for web applications, AI assistants can become more versatile and effective, providing users with timely and contextually relevant information sourced directly from the web. I suspect that this is going to be the next SEO. That's my guess. But people will create MCP, which is a very rudimentary sort of API language to talk directly to people's roving personal agents. So those agents won't have to necessarily use Google search, but they can interact with the MCP of local websites, for instance. And then, of course, you might remember RSS. Really simple syndication, a format for sharing content that uses web feeds. RSS use declined around the time of the rise of social media platforms, and we officially declared it something of obsolete in 2013 with the death of Google Reader. May it rest in peace. It should be mentioned that in the old days, Twitter was compatible with RSS. But over the years, platforms slowly reduced their interoperability with RSS, and makes you wonder why. It's been reborn, though, as the Authenticated Transfer Protocol, aka AT-Proto, decentralized protocol for large-scale social web applications pioneered by our friends at Blue Sky. You should check it out. This is a way to make sure that your content is being dispersed across the web in a centrally decentralized manner, and you really own it, and other people can control what they see. Okay, now you're thinking, well, what about auth? I have a very boring answer for you. It's just OAuth. Granular permission scopes in OAuth are perfect for agent access patterns. So there's another thing that's pretty much solved. We'll probably talk a lot more about it, but don't worry about it. You got this. Now, let's talk about on the user experience side of things. Ambient agents will invisibly adapt to our needs. For instance, say you're walking down the street and you receive a high priority piece of content, breaking news. There's a madman on the loose. Now, it's received as text, but you're walking, your mobile device knows that you're not in a position to whip your phone out in the middle of traffic and stare at its screen. So your agent translates it over into audio and speaks it in your ear so that you're able to get that important information without skipping a beat. Or the reverse, say you're in a busy subway, it's very loud. Your device senses how loud it is, and rather than trying to play a podcast for you, converts it to an article that you can read while you're waiting on the track. This also completely blows the lid off accessibility, because when you are that much in control of the content you're consuming, it can be converted from one format to the other. For the people who are poor of hearing, it can be converted an entire description of the video that you're watching, and vice versa. Then there's adaptive UX, where we generate UI on the fly. This is a static picture of LCAR from Star Trek. It adapted to whatever the team requested or needed to see, whether it was battle stations activity or what's on sale in the canteen. And we can do this right now. We can generate UI on the fly. The question will be, how will we create agents that are able to adapt their UI to what users need to see? You need a player? You got a player. You need a video? You got a video. We already have these patterns. The web looks the same. I'm not concerned. I think it's very easy to hand a design system to an agent and say, please use the appropriate UI component for me as necessary. I think you can do the rest. So, my prediction for the future of the web and AI and agents. Some people it sounds crazy. To some people it sounds obvious. I'm curious how it sounds to you. I suspect that platforms and app stores are not going to be the vehicles of the future. I think they got us here, but they're not going to get us there. I suspect something like a personal agent is going to overtake them all. I mean, why expose yourself to 100 apps with 100 blinking dots doing God knows what with your personal information when you can use just one that you control that builds its personalized algorithm around you? I predict a return to personal feeds where we subscribe to each other and we subscribe to just the things that we want to hear, and that our agent will work more as a triager to give us the information that's most important to whatever it is we're worrying about today or tomorrow. I predict a more accessible interface for more people with more modalities at more stages of their life. Now, information, there's this famous quote that people pull out, but they don't get the whole quote, so I'm going to share it with you now. Information, it was by Stuart Brand, the author of the Whole Earth Catalog, which nobody remembers but my mother. Information wants to be expensive because it is so valuable. The right information in the right place changes your life. On the other hand, information almost wants to be free because the cost of getting it is getting lower and lower all of the time. Anyone can access the information of the internet now, not just big tech, not just data scrapers. The real question is, what are you going to build with it? What are you going to do to make it tastier to consume? Now, if you want to give your agents access to the internet, check out this Langflow integration that we created for you. I can't wait to see what you build, and I'm really looking forward to the future of the internet.